Most firms survive, the best ones scale. Welcome to the Managing Partners Podcast, where law firm leaders learn to think bigger. I'm Kevin Daisy. Let's jump in. What's up, everyone? Welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Managing Partners Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. As always, thank you for listening to me and my guest, and just appreciate everyone that tunes into this show. Today, I have Paul Seabrook here out of San Jose, California, and Paul loves business. He has a law firm. I'm excited to kind of talk to Paul, learn more about his business, and of course, hope it helps some of you that are listening that are either just in the middle of your business, starting your business, thinking about starting a business, because we have a mixed bag of listeners on this show. So I'm excited to
I
learn
look
more from
forward to
Paul.
helping anybody out there who can benefit from my story. So that's for sure.
Yeah, that's what we're all about. Well, Paul, thank you. Please let us know more about you and introduce yourself and tell us about your firm, and we'll just kind of take it from there.
Yeah, I'm Paul Seabrook. I graduated in 2010 and bounced between Seattle and the Bay Area. In 2016, I opened this law firm. Originally, I was working in bankruptcy law, and decided in 2017 I needed to diversify, and I added family law, and found out I liked it so much that I just kind of decided to focus on it. And by 2020, things started to look good. And since 2021, I think I've grown my law firm about 1,000%. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's been a wild sort of journey for me, trying to experience this growth and manage all the things you have to manage while expanding the business. We're sort of ready to make 2026 a real big year for us. We had to learn some things, had to learn some lessons, but next year is going to be really good.
I love it. I love the positivity, optimism. That's how I live my life if I can, and thinking about the good things and better year next year and how can we improve on what we did. That's great. It's awesome to have that success. So it sounds like you're doing bankruptcy. You did some family law. You like that, and you went all in on that. And
Yeah.
I know from looking at your website and things like that, you really focused on like high asset, high net worth. Do you kind of niche specifically in that area? Is that where you found the most success?
Yeah. People, they've got big problems. When you're dealing with high net worth divorce, you're absolutely gonna need help. Identifying the assets and making sure you get a fair value in them. Also dealing with minor children and how to navigate the challenges that people face when dealing with a high asset, high conflict divorce. It's very painful.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you know, focusing on that, um, that's obviously more goes into a, a divorce like that than, your run of the mill kind of divorces out there. So, and it's kind of interesting. I see divorce firms that either just take anything ever under the sun. They're more like a volume kind of firm. And, separate from that, I see ones that their brand, the way they carry themselves, they're very specific that they're focused
Yeah, it
on the high
becomes
net worth.
difficult. Like when you start thinking about who you're going to serve and how you're going to serve them, it's really important to have all those things aligned. In so that, I mean, it becomes difficult if you go into McDonald's and you want filet mignon. That's not. You're going to have issues there. If you go into a good steakhouse and you just want the cheap food. Likewise, you're just going to run into problems. And so, as a business, you want to try to find out who you serve and serve them to the best of your ability.
Yeah, it's hard to do all of it. It's hard to do both of those things, and I know that in my business too. It's you can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you wish you could help everybody. That makes that certainly increases the challenges the business faces.
yeah, it's almost like from a business perspective, you'd almost have like two different brands or two different firms. Because yeah, to your point, how everything's structured and built, and how your staff and processes for a small kind of run of the mill case versus like a real high complex divorce case. That if you're built for the high end, high asset, you're just not going to be efficiently. You're going to lose money probably on those other cases.
Yeah, smaller, simpler cases become more difficult to manage because, and it's really difficult because those people are in trouble. I mean, the passion I get is from helping people who are in a toxic marriage reclaim their freedom. And it's real tough because there's a lot of people in bad situations that you want to be able to help. But again, if you start trying to, hand out a McDonald's cheeseburger for $50, the clients don't like.
It's not going to work.
It's not really, it doesn't get for a happy client.
So, do you have? I mean, I guess the best thing to do is to have good referral sources. To say, hey, not a fit for us. I got so and so, or
Yeah,
that would be a great fit for you and help you. That way, you're taking care of them. Hopefully, they're getting the work, the service they need, and you can continue to focus on what you're best at.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Tell me a little bit more. I guess the structure of your firm. You've had obviously great growth and success, especially recently. What are some of the I guess what's the makeup of your firm? Earnings, things like that. And just interested to get into more like what were kind of those moments of success, or what things can you recall that you felt contributed to that? Thank you for tuning into the show today. I have taken things to the next level, and I've started the Managing Partners Mastermind. We're a peer group of owners looking for connection, clarity, and growth strategies. So if you're looking to grow your law firm and not do it alone, please consider joining the group. Spots are limited, so I ask for anyone to reach out to me directly through LinkedIn, and we can set up a one-on-one call to make sure it's a fit. Now back to the show.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing so I've got 5 attorneys underneath me. My whole team is 20. And it's tough because it's not ever any one thing. I have had to learn hard lessons in every aspect of the business: marketing, intake, sales. And we've, the lawyers and the work that we do has always been good. But, when you start to see this kind of growth that I've experienced, really trying to manage it becomes challenging, and trying to figure out how to make sure that we manage the cases so that every client feels heard and that we can make sure that they're progressing. That's probably been the biggest, because when I kind of got that under control, that's when we started to have the happy clients who were getting what I wanted them to get.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, it's as you scale, like every client wants time. They want to be updated. Where's their case? What can they do to help with their case? So it takes a lot. And so, yeah,
Yeah, and if
it's
you get
doing
it
good
all,
legal work is
like if you don't manage it effectively, then you're going to have unhappy clients who leave bad reviews, and then it's going to be, it makes challenging marketing your law firm more challenging. And so, yeah, there's a lot to consider. And then, like, the staff. Do you have the right staff? And when you get to be my size, I mean, you probably experienced this. All of a sudden, California employment law comes into play as far as, how we've got to manage it. It was a lot simpler when it was me and a couple of people. And as you get more complex, it certainly adds to the learning opportunities I've had.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, doing great legal work. I think a lot of lawyers, they all want and believe, and they do good legal work, and that gets you to some a certain amount of leeway. But to run a law firm and to scale it and grow it, just doing good legal work is not enough. You have to have the
Yeah.
systems, the processes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where, it's so important. The systems and the procedures, the policies, it's got to be written down. Last night I decided I was going to schedule a meeting with my team. That's sort of an impromptu meeting this afternoon, just to cover something that people, I noticed that people, give them an inch, they take a mile, that kind of thing. And we get to have a meeting today to get people back in line on how we need to do things and why we need to do it the way we're
Yeah.
doing.
So something in that process is getting skipped or missed, and you need to
Yeah.
dial it back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna happen. It's gonna continue to happen, right? And as you grow, you got your communication becomes harder. There's something like it's like the project manager certification. My business partner is a project manager, whatever. But it's in there like as you add another person, 2 people, then 3 people, then 4 people. Like the communication gets so much more difficult. And
Right.
as you have 20
Right.
people or 50 people, it just makes things way more complex. And so companies can get really out of whack and very complex very quickly.
That's what, like, I think for a law firm, I noticed that I got complex. So I was pouring a lot into growth, and I had 3 lawyers working for me. And I noticed that when I tried to expand past that, I needed to bring on administrative support to help me with marketing, help me with HR, help me with business operations. And when I did that, the business got complex. And all of a sudden, the marketing needed to work and the sales
Well,
needed to
your
work.
overhead went up.
The overhead goes up, and then the way the attorneys and the paralegals are delivering the service needed to work. And that's where I've learned a lot these last couple of years, as I've tried to understand where the holes are in the business and what needs to be fixed. It's been a tremendous opportunity to learn, that's for sure.
It sounds like so. Have you
Any of it in law school, by the way. None of this came out.
you only learned this stuff on the Managing Partners podcast right here? So it sounds like so. Have you fallen in love with the business side of law?
Yes, I have. Yeah. I think I'm probably in line for a vacation here coming up. I could take a break, that's for sure. But yeah, no, it's fascinating to be able to think about how you get people to, buy in to what you need them to buy into, and, holding standards, and there's just so much.
There is so much. It's just so many things. It's people always say, "What's the secret?" And it's like, well, there's no secret. There's no silver bullet. It's a lot of things that you have to work
Yeah.
on.
There's no, I mean, if you got one thing wrong, it's not, you got to fix it. I feel like, I get asked a lot, like, what's the one thing that you wish you knew? And I can't answer that question because I had to experience it. I had to go through some tumultuous times, and looking at what I had created and looking at what I wanted, and what's the gap there, as far as I'm sure I know now that if I knew how hard it was going to be, I would never have started. That's the truth of the matter.
But it takes that hardship and lessons to be able to be good and to be able to address those things, right? And learn it really deeply enough to go, okay, I know what to do to fix this. But you
Yeah.
can't just read a book one time and go, okay, I can do all this.
No, it's
It takes
trial
that
and error.
experience.
Yeah, it's experience, it's making mistakes, and, just keep going one foot in front of the other. That's how I've done it.
Well, sounds like you're doing a great job. I use this analogy sometimes when I was having kids. I got 2 kids, and all my friends that had already had kids, they want to tell you everything. I'm going to tell you everything, and you're just going to listen to me, and then you'll have it all figured out. Of course, you ignore everything they say, and then when you have your second kid or your friends have kids, you're like, "Here's a book. You read this, do this," and they probably don't listen to any of it because they have to go into it themselves, and then they
Yeah,
come out.
yeah.
Second kid, they understand what to do.
Second kid yeah, I've got 2 kids as well. The first one, it was everything you see is the first time you're seeing it. And that's a lot like running a law firm is, all of a sudden, you have a employee do something that you never even thought you'd have to come across. And all of a sudden, here we are. And I get to learn this now too. And it's an interesting, never ending learning experience. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's easy, I think, for no, it never is. I mean, every week it's something. But that's good. You have to fall in love with that part or have fun with it, or you're not going to be in a good place. I think if you're up for the challenge, like you're excited about next year in 2026 and where you're at now, that's the mindset you have to have, or you're just not you're not going to be in
Yeah.
a good place.
Yeah, and I think it's important because you've got to be able to if you're gonna grow a business, you got to learn all the parts of it. You got to learn how to improve upon it. And you get to be my size, and I think it really, like, if I had any advice for people out there trying to, like, for law firms, if you're trying to go from small to big, for me it was 3 attorneys. Then crossing over into more than that is when it became so complex that I needed to bring in people who knew what they were doing in order to help me. I mean, there's people who work for me that know a lot more than me. And, that's, I initially I hired some folks who were learning on the job, and that cost me a lot.
Yep, that's a very important lesson right there. I've done this too. Is you try to bring people out of school or college or someone that just has a little bit of experience. And you plug them in, and they can't help you get to that next step. They might actually cause more problems. So I think it's hard to do because you're like, okay, I got to hire a bunch of people that don't bring in any revenue. They don't
Yeah.
bring in any money, and you're not sure if it's the right decision or if they're the right fit or the right people, or there's just so many complexities there. Like,
Yeah,
are they the
and
right culture?
I'll tell you, like one of the fascinating things about that part of it is if you're bringing in somebody to do a job that I don't know how to do, how do you hold them accountable to that job? That was something, like the first time or two I tried to do this, like I didn't even know what I wanted from that. All I knew is that I needed help in operations, and trying to find somebody you trust and you trust has that knowledge and experience and is going to help you out was a challenge for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a risk, and it's again, once you get to that size, I have a lot of business owners that I know personally that tell me, "I made more money and I was happier when I was just by myself." It's like,
Mm,
and, and so, yeah, you cross the line at some point where it's like, "Okay, this is not about me." Obviously, I got team, they have family, it just gets so much bigger, and then it's easier to fail as you've scaled up in some cases because there's a lot more risk,
moving
a
parts.
lot
Yeah.
more overhead. If
Yeah.
leads aren't coming in and sales aren't closing,
Yeah.
you have a lot more there to be responsible for.
That
So
market
you just
things is really difficult to get right. I tell you, it's a never ending process. What do you do to attract enough leads, enough high quality leads?
yeah, and then you got new platforms, you got AI search, you got Google, you changing stuff all the time.
Yeah, always gotta be on top of it, and you gotta have somebody who knows. I mean, that was you go through 1,000% growth. That was so fascinating for me because, obviously, when I started on that journey of growth, I had marketing that was working, and then I noticed as the growth kind of continued, the marketing had to change, and it didn't. And it didn't, I mean, it has now. Like, it's so fascinating as you go through this journey on business as far as who do you want to attract and how do you attract them.
Yeah, it doesn't stay static, right? As you grow and have different things, different clientele, you're in a different position, your brand grows, authority grows, and you can also pull off other types of marketing that a startup firm or a small firm
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you get some advantages, it's I think there's, obviously we do marketing. There's like when you're starting out, you got to pump a ton of money and a bigger percentage of your budget into awareness and lead gen and all that stuff. And but as as firms get bigger, like a Morgan and Morgan or like some of these big law firms out there, like they put all their money into brand because they're so recognized now. It's just
Yeah.
keeping that brand going, but they don't have to pay pay per click and they don't have to do these other things. So it's kind of like this life cycle, if you will. And I think that a lot of firms try to like skip or go into channels and areas that they're just not prepared for, or they can't afford, or they just don't have the they don't have the brand there long enough to be successful.
Yeah, I
And so
can totally tell, like as like we're gonna have to embark on some more brand marketing, as we continue to grow. We're growing. There's a couple of law firms in the Bay Area that are bigger than me still, and I'm trying to chase them down.
coming for them. Paul is coming for you. Watch out.
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. That's for sure.
I love it, man. That's awesome. I love everything you're doing. What is the best way for folks to, I guess, find your firm, check it out? What's the best way to connect with you personally? If I got other lawyers that are like, "Hey, I love your story. Like, love to talk with you and learn more." What's the best way to
Yeah,
find
the
you?
website, like, you Google my name, I'm pretty sure I show up there. Email is just Paul at Seabrook Law Offices, and happy to talk with people. I'm part of a network of a lot of attorneys who are growing. I always happy to like, talk ideas and give
I love it.
tips. Help people out.
That right there, having a network or a mastermind or a group of other attorneys, someone else to talk to, especially other owners, is so important.
Critical. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty lonely otherwise.
yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
yeah.
Unless all your friends and family are entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneur. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen.
Yeah. So it's hard to, take that home or talk to your normal friends, and if they don't run a business,
Yeah, they don't get it. They don't understand it. Yeah.
they just say, "Hey, you're lucky."
If they only knew. If they only knew.
Everyone listening is so lucky, and came easy, right?
Blood, sweat, and tears, that's for sure.
Oh man, I love it. All right, well, I appreciate you, Paul, coming on to share what you're doing. Excited to see
Thanks,
you
Kevin.
grow. Excited to see your success. Hopefully, it's motivational to everyone listening here, especially the divorce attorneys that are tuning in. and you can get it done. You can have the growth 1,000%. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
that was it's be careful out there, guys. A lot can it can happen. But
That's
thanks
right.
for the time, Kevin. I appreciate it. It was great chatting.
You as well. You stick on with me for just a sec, and everyone else, thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.